do you think?
Ooh, I might go with Tyrann Mathieu.
That's I'd wear a Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, sure. 32. It's a clean number.
Dress warm, stay safe. Watch us. We'll be giving you the live coverage at noon Eastern, but stick with us until then on Good Morning Football, where we are live in New York City, wishing we were in Kansas City on this Wednesday, February 5th. My name's Kay, Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, all here. And keep it tuned, like I said, but we've got much, much more to get to. Super Bowl Live champions. They're home, so is the trophy, so is the championship belt. The speeches, the moments, the emotions, it's all going down at noon Eastern. Other stuff going on in the world of the NFL, though, so it's time for the lead block.
Lead block.
Yes, we just did angry runs. Is your blood pressure back at a semi-normal place?
It's normal, especially now since the Chiefs are having a parade for stopping the ultimate angry runner.
Yes, that's true. They stopped Derrick Henry. Great segue, thank you. And Derrick Henry is set to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason, and he joined us down in Miami. We asked him if he wanted to stay in Tennessee.
You know, I definitely like to stay there, get with my agent, try to work things out, you know, with that organization, with everybody there, and you know, and
but they got to bring that money though. Let's just keep it real, bro. I know you're doing the political thing, but let me be
I want to hear what he's got to say.
They got to bring the right check.
I mean, yes. I mean, because as a player, you want to get everything you can, you know, out of this game when you're playing, because at my position, you don't play very long. So exactly, I want to get, you know, I feel like my worth, and you know, I just get with my agent and try to figure things out. But at the end of the day, like you said, you know, the money, you know, has to be there, because I mean, that's what this league is.
That's what it is.
Nate working his magic. Like nobody else. It works. I'm telling you, there's guys in the league who owe him.
Nate, you were such a hype man.
I try to be. I just keep it real. Play the game to get paid. That's what everybody else does when they leave college. It's no different in the league, and I feel like he deserves to get paid.
But what does get paid mean? Well, take a listen to what Henry said to Rich Eisen the day after about where he sees contract negotiations starting.
Is Zeke numbers the floor? Is that the floor?
Zeke numbers is the floor.
I mean, that's it, right? I mean, he's the guy. He had a contract. You are a free agent. I mean, so you can pretty much dictate in a way what you would like to have happen. And so you will test the market, or is it a way that Tennessee could prevent that from happening? Is what you're saying?
I mean, I hope they prevent it from happening. I mean, I love to stay in Tennessee, and then see what happens, though. I mean, it's all, I mean, got to talk to my agent, work things out with them, and, you know.
Okay, and you led the league in carries and yards, and so you have pretty much put your resume on the table for the Tennessee Titans.
I hope so. I did. I hope so.
Zeke Elliott, huh? Well, if Zeke's numbers are the floor, negotiations for Derrick Henry would then start at $15 million per year. He's the league's leading rusher. He did carry his team to an AFC Championship appearance. Does that mean that Derrick Henry should be the highest paid running back in the NFL?
It's very complicated, Kay.
It is.
Here's what I would say. The idea that you look at the game and say, we got to just pay this guy, and he carried him, he was the best running back in the playoffs, you just pay him, is very naive. It's much more complicated than that. And what you try to do is study a little bit of history. The concern with Derrick Henry, of course, the position, the wear, tons of carries going back to college. I say this every time. Contracts are not a reward. They're an investment in the future. Look at another big guy like Brandon Jacobs, similar body type from the Giants. By 28, it was pretty much done. Derrick Henry's 26. You look at another super high carry guy like Eddie George. By 26, 27, he wasn't even touching 4 yards of carry. It was starting to wear down. So what would you do? You can't let Derrick Henry go. I would try to tag and pray. I would. I would try to say, we'll offer you the franchise tag, and you just pray that Derrick Henry takes it, because offering him a Zeke deal, 4 years, 5 years, 80 guys, every available metric we have says that in 2 to 3 years, Derrick Henry will not be the player he is this year. It ain't quarterbacks. It ain't pass rushers. It's totally different. He deserves it, of course, and I hate to say it, but I would try to go for something short-term, because I don't know if he'll be the player he is in a few years.
Yes, and that is
as practical as I can be.
And it's pragmatic, and it is wise. The Tennessee Titans present a very interesting situation, though, because their quarterback also happens to be a free agent. So if you don't pay Derrick Henry his free agent a deal, you franchise him. You can only use one franchise tag. Every team only can use one. That means you're going to let Ryan Tannehill hit free agency.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill was the comeback player of the year. He led you to 2 Super Bowl games as well, 2 playoff victories in Baltimore and also in New England. And then you're dealing with a $30 million contract situation instead of what is likely a $15 or $16 million contract situation. I would think the wiser decision is franchise tag Tannehill.
Interesting.
Let's see him do it for 1 more year and make sure Tannehill's the quarterback of the future. And you know what you're at least getting with Derrick Henry.
For now.
And sign him to a 3 to 4 year deal and make him the highest paid running back
You're
in
saying
football.
Todd Gurley, David Johnson, cautionary tales.
It terrifies me.
That's fair.
That's the one half of the cautionary. The other cautionary is Raheem Mostert and Damian Williams, and we have an amazing line. And I don't think anybody can do what Derrick does, but can they approach it? Probably.
Listen, you guys are saying the most financially responsible thing to do, which I agree with. I mean, that's the business.
Well, we disagree on it, too.
But you're missing Brandon Jacobs, and let's just call it what it is. Derrick Henry is a better back than Brandon Jacobs.
100%.
You mentioned Eddie George. They might be a little bit more similar. I would say Derrick Henry is a little bit faster. Now, when it comes to paying a guy for what he's supposed to do, not what he has done, I was in that situation in Seattle. Shaun Alexander, at one point, was considered the best back in football, led the NFL in rushing. And then Seattle was in a tough position. Do we pay Shaun Alexander knowing that he's creeping up on that age where the tread on the tires is starting to wear, or do we let him go? Seattle decided to pay him. And in all honesty, it handcuffed the squad for a little bit. Because at that point, Shaun Alexander wasn't the guy he used to be. I think he only lasted another year after that. Then he went on to try to get a cup of coffee with the Washington Redskins. But with that said, I was okay with it. I was perfectly fine with it. Everybody on the squad was, even if we knew that Shaun wasn't going to be the same. Sometimes you have to make these decisions to help your team realize that you're willing to take care of guys that have taken care of you. There's a way to pay him big bucks and not handcuff your team for 10 years. You can say, you know what, okay, what's the average? We'll give you big dollars, short amount of years, and let's see if he can do that for a couple of years, and then we'll revisit this again. A 2 to 3 year contract, that can also give Derrick Henry some stability. If you say, hey, well, franchise, he's like, no, give me a little bit more. But if we give you a 3-year deal, up the money, pay him up front right now, and the back end's a little light, I think Derrick Henry's like, all right, I can respect that. I can appreciate that. I'll run hard for you for a couple of years, and we'll talk again in 3. I feel like that's the better offer for a guy that literally carried them into the playoffs.
And I think his net, what he earned over this entire rookie contract, was somewhere just under $5 million.
That's crazy.
Total.
It's crazy.
It's ending now. It's sort of wild to think about. That said, I wonder, and I don't know if you guys even have the answer to this, Shrakes, you sort of know the marketplace when it comes to this. Will his lack of versatility hurt him? Because when I look at 2020 offenses, you can speak to this.
Yeah, McCaffrey.
The guys that are making $10+ million are guys that are expected to catch the ball too, like Todd Gurley, like Le'Veon Bell, like what I believe Saquon and Christian McCaffrey will be due when they redo their deals.
Yeah, no, he's an old school running back. He might be the last of a dying breed in that way, and that he is a bulldozer, and yet he led the league in rushing.
Yep.
He had all those playoff games.
Here's my versatility. I can beat the Patriots in the playoffs, and I can beat the Ravens in the playoffs. I'm very versatile.
But your offense has to be built for that, you know? Like, their offense is built that way. He's not the kind of guy that's going to be a free agent and have 32 teams knocking down on his door. It's going to be 5 or 6 teams because he might fit what they have with a big offensive line.
Do you think there's a comparison, Peter? There's so many Patriots ties. And I think what they decide to do with Derrick Henry will say a lot about the Titans. Some of what Nate's getting into about the message it sends the players. Maybe it's not practical. No, I'm talking about Derrick Henry. Like, the Patriots would not pay Derrick Henry a massive contract.
Okay, you're saying
the Patriots would be like, we got our best out of you. Best of luck. We'll make do.
To clarify, John Robinson, the GM, comes from the Patriots.
Mike Vrabel comes from the Patriots.
Where you talk about the laundry, the jersey. You don't talk about the player.
That's what I'm saying. The nice thing to do, the good thing to do for the fans and for the rest of the locker room, be like, Derrick Henry, he's earned it. That may make you have a bunch of losses in a few years. Patriots, see you later. We got our best. We get somebody else.
I was just looking at him, stiff arm Earl Thomas, one of the best safeties in the business. I'm just saying, pay that dude. Pay that dude, because I get what you're saying. Maybe he is a few years away from hitting his peak. But in those few years, maximize it. Take advantage and have him run as much as he can.
It's a business thing. You don't look at the next fiscal quarter. You look at the next quarter of a century.
Okay, but you're also, I know you mentioned a couple guys, Raheem Mosterts and the late round draft picks that you could find.
Look at Damian Williams.
Damian Williams.
He just had a great Super
Bowl. That's also shaking the dice.
Yes, it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a guarantee that you're going to find a diamond in the rough.
You're right.
Sometimes you got to stick with what you got. And what you got right now